Now the internet has created a whole new world of getting jobs and making extra money and even starting a whole new careers. And because jobs aren't going nowhere, we haven't even created enough jobs since the last recession. Actually, here's some data out there now about jobs and what's happened since the last recession. Back in like 2008 when that started, well, we lost almost 7 million jobs. Okay, so that's in 2008. So now this is 2014. So now it's 7 years and we barely made those 7 million jobs back. You know how businesses create new jobs and everything. So we're just almost even, but we're not even. We're only halfway there because in those 7 years, the population has increased. So the number of people looking for jobs is an additional 7 million. So it's going to take us almost 4 more years to create the number of jobs we need to fill how many were lost in the last recession. So that we're back to square one. So that's why everybody's talking about the recession over. That may be true, but not for people looking for jobs. And what's happening too is that people are just giving up. I mean, look at this chart from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The number of people that have just given up looking for work altogether is at its lowest point since like 1978 or somewhere like that. And you see that graph that, like back in after the Second World War, it was back about 60%. And then it went up to almost 70%. And now we're down about 62%. And it's been going down for 15 years, it looks like. Even more than that, 20 years, 25 years. And that's because how many jobs? But jobs are out there, but people are looking in the wrong places. What happens is that, particularly if you're over 25 or 30, you're thinking, classified ads. When was the last time you saw classified ads jobs? Or employment agencies. When was the last time? There's a whole new world out there of how to get jobs, and all of it is around the internet. And the internet actually, you don't have to pay anybody. Anybody who's out there saying, just, sign up here and pay us $300 or $1,000 or all this kind of, no, you don't have to do any of that. Anybody asking for that money for you to get a job, just run away. Run away as fast as you can because there's just too many places out there where to get jobs. And these are either full-time, part-time. What's also happening now, people, our average income is really going down. The family income, it's really minus. We're working more hours and making less money. And so people are even getting second jobs. More people have second jobs now probably than ever before. So that's available too. All those things are online, and you have to learn how to use those stuff. So here's 33 websites that you could go to get cool jobs, not so cool jobs. Because see, the new jobs, you don't have to dress up and go to the office to a lot of these things. You can be in your underwear at home and making money. So it's a lot more flexible. You can work when you want to work. You're not overseen by some boss and have to be there all the time. So there's so many jobs you don't have that control. People don't have, bosses don't have that kind of control over you anymore. It's just more flexible work schedules and where and how and what you wear and who. People don't even see you and hire you and send you money. It's terrific, but it's a new way to learn. So like I say, if you're 25, 30 years or under, you probably know about these things. You're over that, you don't. But that's where it's happening. So you got to learn about those. And there's so many popping up all the time. I mean, these jobs, that are, they're really job banks. I mean, they're like clearinghouses for jobs. What the internet has done is cut out the middleman. So if somebody needs work done, like somebody who needs, I need somebody to clean out my basement. Well, they don't go to put a sign in the store anymore or the supermarket or whatever they're looking for. No, they go on one of these websites. See, and it's free to them to do that. It's free for you to get the job. See, and that's what's neat. Now, here's some of the websites. We're going to go through them. The first one that's pretty popular in doing these little odd jobs that people can, and you can make good money, man, doing this stuff. If you're making, 10, 15 bucks an hour or something like that, what the heck? That's not bad money. It beats doing nothing, or even a part-time job, So it's called TaskRabbit, TaskRabbit. .com, and they have a list. You sign up there. The people who are offering the job sign up there. So it's all a clearinghouse, and there's nobody taking. They take a small little percent. You don't even notice it, but they handle all the marketing. And that's what's neat. So as a business, if you're looking for work, you don't have to do the marketing. You don't have to go knocking on doors. It's all there. It's all there in one spot. That's what's so neat about it, that people are all rushing there looking for people, and you could rush there looking for work, And there's another one there called Gig Walk, G-I-G, like, let's do a gig, like dancing a jig. So a gig walk. That's not a jig, I guess it's a gig. But a gig. And what happens there, people, particularly, and this is like for secret shoppers, you heard about those kind of jobs, and people who sell those kind of jobs on the internet are charging money for you to get those kind of, no, you go to GigWalk, there are people all over a headquarters, they want to know what the store down the street is, how their sign is, so they pay you $40 or whatever to go down and check that out for them, and that's not a bad couple hours of work for something like that. So that's GigWalk, G-I-G-W-A-L-K. Now here's another neat one called, it's called Mechanical Turk. Mechanical Turk. And that's part of Amazon. The big bookstore and all that stuff they're selling on the internet now. Well, they have a clearinghouse for people who need people like to do things on the internet for people. Hey, I need people like to look at 15 sites and say whether they're red or green or something like that. And you make a some money doing that at home. You never see the boss, you never do anything, you do what you want, you plug in, hey, okay, what kind of jobs are available today, how much they're paying, how much does it normally cost, okay, I'll do that, I got nothing better to do. And I'll make some money just clicking on the internet, And anybody can do it. Mechanical Turk. And actually I was reading somewhere, I forget, that's sort of a, from something that happened 20 years ago, or I mean 200 years ago, where somebody brought this, like a robot, at the time. They said it was a robot, and they called it Mechanical Turk or something like that, that would do things for you. And it was really a guy inside or something like that. It was way before all these things. So that's mechanicalturk.com. Just Google that. It's part of Amazon, and you'll find it. So it's Amazon Mechanical Turk. And how to get, and it's also, see, for people like little entrepreneurs, I need somebody to do something, and it's no commitment. See, you don't have to hire somebody and give them benefits and all this kind of stuff. That's just neat about the internet. So it's much more flexible, and that's how we're going to live in more and more. Nobody offers benefits anymore except a government job, and who knows how long that's going to take. So that's why you have to learn this system about it. Being an independent person and finding out where these jobs are and opportunities are, whether it's a full-time or just filling in for something or just make some extra money. I mean, it's nice. It beats watching some stupid TV thing, right? But also like Mechanical Turk, guru.com, Guru.com. I use that a lot, looking for people, all kind of expertise. You need somebody to write something. You need somebody to research. You need somebody to do anything. You need an engineer. You need, a publicity expert or something. You have some kind of skill or whatever that you could share with somebody. You just put it on, go there and just start looking at all the things that are on there. I mean, they have categories in the hundreds of different kind of categories. You need somebody to do a website or something like that because you're fooling around yourself and you can't do it. Well, they have people there who will do it for next to nothing, that kind of thing. Or you want to start learning how to do it, So you could be one of those people who do the things and make extra money on the side. Now that's very big and very popular. And another one just like that is E-Lance, E and then L-A-N-C-E. It's very popular. And look at these sites because they're very important in our society now. This is where people are getting talent, and you get talent all over the world. So if you're in America, you have to know about these things because you're competing with people that are on there from other countries. So you want to know about it. How is it for you? How is it? How are you going to do it? Put something on there to see. It costs nothing. It costs nothing. Put your resume on there. Hey, I do these 5 things for anybody. You want to consult? You can consult through through the internet and writing emails back or Skyping with somebody. I mean, I deal with people all over the world through organizations like this that I find them to help. So this is, if you're looking for a job or anything, your local community won't have that for you, but it may be something on the web, and you have to look at it. The other one is Freelancer, freelancer.com. And here's a fun one, Fiverr. I use this one a lot. Number one for myself. Hey, you want to test out something, like you have an idea for something. You're a photographer, and you say you can take pictures or edit pictures or something like that. You can say, hey, I'll do a test job for you for $5. See, on this thing is $5 for everything. Everything is $5. Like right now, I'm looking for new graphic artists to do some cartoons for a new website we're doing. And I go on there and I find 5 people, give me $5 a piece and see what they're doing, or 10 people. But it's a way to get customers. See, if you have a talent like that you could sell, you go to Fiverr. Because see, another thing, no matter how good your talent is, or your product, or anything you have, if you don't have customers, it doesn't matter. And see, what's great about these sites, they have customers. They have people going to the sites all the time. And that's what you want. You have, it's a market. So it's like going down to the town square, where all the people come for shopping. So if you had you were selling something at a flea market, you can't sell it at home. You got to go down to the flea market to sell it. So that's what these are like now. It's on the internet. You don't even have to get out of the house. And now you're in the flea market and you're presenting your product, presenting your ideas, or whatever. Because see, millions of people are coming to these sites all the time. So why should you go fishing when they did the fishing for you, and everybody's lined up with their poles in the water, and all you have to do is jump in the water and learn how to do that. Okay, here's another one like Fiverr. It's called, actually I think they're ripping off Fiverr. It's called Fiverr Up. See, Fiverr is spelled with 2 R's, and this is called spelled with Fiverup, Fiverr Up. And it's the same kind of deal, just another guy getting in on the action. But it's another place. I mean, so maybe they only have 500,000 people coming to their site. That's pretty good, right? Where else are you going to find it? See, that's what's so neat about all these sites. And here's another one called Gig Bucks. GIG bucks, and they start at $5 and go like to $100. So you have a service, you have an idea or whatever that you could provide for somebody. Look at these things. I mean, Gig Bucks, they have all kinds of freelancers that you could get talent they're looking for. Oh, let's see, okay, they have graphic artists, music and audio. Maybe you like music. You could write little tunes for people. Photographers, programmers, silly stuff. You'll do a birthday song for somebody. Social marketing, technology, translation services, video, writing, these kinds of things that are out there. It costs nothing to try. You put it out there. You look at the other things doing. You look at the people making a lot of money on hey, what are they doing that I could do different? So you don't have to hire anybody to try, because it costs nothing to you, and if you keep it original to what is you're about, you'll attract more people that way than just copying somebody else verbatim, or some hotshot thinks they know everything and says do it this way. So that's a way to get jobs, part-time, and you have control. You decide if you're going to work 3 hours a day, 30 hours a day, whatever, what days, you don't work this, you have control of your life. That's what's neat. You get a job somewhere, you got to go there every day, and you've lost control of your life, right? Because you're here, you have control, and you decide when you want to do it. So you're like an independent contractor, but making money the way, your way, and having more control of your life to do things. So that's what's good about these things. Now, another thing is this way to make money peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer sharing is what it is. It's a way to make money with stuff you got that you don't use all the time. And actually, I just saw a listing of 400 peer-to-peer sharing sites on that. We're sharing everything. And I'm going to go through some of them now. So stuff you have around the house that you could make money out of that you didn't know that it was worth any value. Like your car. Okay. Like here, flight car. That's an interesting thing. You could, when you're going to the airport, you could drop your car off at Flight Car Guy. They park it for free. So while you're out of town, you don't pay for parking. That you go to where the airplane, login places or drop-off place, or and they're there to take your car, and then they wash it and they rent it out for you. somebody who's flying into that city and needs a car, they won't go to Hertz or Avis because this guy's cheaper and it's your car and they give you a lot of money for it. So when you come back in, you fly in town, you get your car, they pick you up at the terminal and your car's washed and you got money. So who would have thought that you could make money, with your car at the airport instead of costing you money? Now here's another thing, relay rides. This is another way you get use on your car sitting in the driveway. Most of us use our car about 20% of the time. It's sitting there doing nothing. Okay, you put it on the website, people looking for a car. Hey, I could get Joe's car for a half a day for $30 or whatever. That's cheaper than anywhere else I get it. And they do they have the insurance, they do all the hassle. See, that's what's neat about these peer-to-peer websites. They take out all the risk because they vet all the people who are going to use the car, and you too, and they have insurance. They have the insurance to cover it, so you don't have to have insurance. So that's what I mean. And it's a friendly thing. I mean, who wants to, when you drive around with a Hertz, your car, you bring it back all messy because you don't care about Hertz. Hertz doesn't care about you. They just care about your money, so you're going to pay no matter what. But when Joe comes and borrows your car, he cares. You care about Joe. Joe cares about you, because what happens, you're going to rate Joe on the site how good he brought the car back. So if Joe's messy with your car, he gets a bad review, and it's going to be tough for him to use somebody else's car. So that's why I mean the self-policing of this peer-to-peer stuff that's going on in our country is going to get rid of so much problems we have in dealing with big bureaucracies, because they won't be in charge anymore. They'll be the little guys. The big companies will just be websites. That's all there are. They are as a website. But see, millions of people come to the website looking for a car. See, if you say, hey, your car's available for rent when you're not using it, well, how are you going to organize that? How are you going to find people who want it? But now, for free, you put it on a website, people are looking. People are looking there. See, they're going to that website. So that's what's so neat about these websites. They're the village square where everybody's trading ideas and trading help and trading whatever they're not using and making money out of it because somebody else, it's worth something to them. So relayrides.com is one of those. Another one is Get Around. So these are companies that are booming. Like I say, these peer-to-peer websites are growing. Like there's 400 of them already, at least. They're the ones that just got venture capital money. See, even the sharks, the ones with venture capital, are investing in these kind of websites because they think, hey, this is where it's at. Now, one of the ones that I really like is AirBnB. And this is hotel rooms and apartments that people own. They're not Hyatt's or Hilton and stuff like that. I just came back from Shanghai, China, and stayed in an Airbnb. It was terrific. It's somebody's private apartment we stayed in. My son and I went in there. And not only was it great and much more reasonable than a hotel, man, I was part of the community. The woman who owns it, manages the thing and everything, I mean, she was like a buddy. I mean, she hooked us up with people in the area. You feel like you're part of the community, not have to go to the fancy concierge at the hotel lobby telling you about something that he's getting a 10% kickback on or something like that. And it was just a wonderful experience that way. So now this is happening all over again. This company, Airbnb, is worth I forget, tens of billions of dollars already. It's actually worth more than even Hyatt Hotel. And this company has like 1,000 people working for it. Hyatt Hotel has 50,000 people working for it because this company owns nothing. It owns a website. See, the rooms are you have an extra room you're not using. Actually, even a couch you're not using. You could put it on there. How many looks like it? And see, people are connecting with people more this way. People say, oh, the internet is getting us a remote, and we don't have bowling leagues anymore. But man, if I'm going to China and staying in someone's home, and meeting someone who lives there, I mean, to me, that's a more personal relationship than staying at the Hilton. So that's why I think we're getting more personal. with that. It's a way to get more personal and get more connection. Now I have more friends in Shanghai than I probably do here. And I've been living here 70 years. But that's what's happening. And this is so big. I mean, this company it just took off. They just went public. And they own nothing. New York is complaining because all the hotels are losing business, and you don't have to pay the hotel tax. So the local governments are worried. So we'll shake that out, but it's not going anywhere. I mean, just like when we started downloading CDs or music online, all the big music companies were complaining and everything, and we straightened it out, and the music stores are still gone, no matter how much they fight. They'll just go down fighting. And the same way the hotels and things like that. It's a good deal for the consumer, and it's a good deal for you. If you have an extra room, you have an extra apartment or whatever, or even anything like that. Now here's another place like that called Evergreen Club. And where you could stay for $25 a day for 2 people anywhere. There's like 2,000 places around the country. And it's really for seniors. It's people over 50 or so, and you stay with it. They feed you in the morning, and it's sort of like a friendly place. I mean, I get that now for some reason, coming back from Shanghai, where getting local people involved, and you meet with them for an hour at breakfast in the morning, and it's just a wonderful experience instead of being at the hotel coffee shop, with 50 other traveling salesmen or whatever the hell it is. And you got some local person, and you're staying at a fraction of the price. And actually, the Airbnb, we're using it. We have an apartment downtown Washington we don't use a lot. So we just put it on Airbnb to do it. To see we make some extra money. My son, who has a townhouse in Washington, D.C., there were away so many weekends. He'd go away. He rents it out just on the weekends and makes extra money, when he's out of town. So that's, this kind of extra money you can always make now because somebody is doing all the hard work for you. There's a website that handles all the money, handles all the transactions, all the legal stuff, insurance, and customers. They find you customers. That's the hardest part of anything, is finding a customer. No matter what business you have the greatest idea. If you don't have a customer, you're peanuts. You're nothing, nada. So they get the customers for you, and that's the key to success with all these kind of things that are going on. That they bring you customers, and it costs you nothing to put it on that website and try it. What the heck? People are making so much money doing this kind of stuff. Now, here's another interesting way to make money with this is manage other people's properties that on Airbnb. I ran into a guy, he sort of like invests in condos around the city, but when they're empty, he gives them to this other fella who takes 20% of the money they get, and he puts it on Airbnb. He handles all the stuff to make sure the people get the keys, and updates the site, and things like that, or give the information on the site. You don't have to be a techie to do this. And what's neat, they send out a photographer for free to your apartment and take beautiful pictures. Go on and look at our place. They're gorgeous looking pictures. A little better than the actual place, but they make you look gorgeous. The camera work is wonderful, but that's a wonderful business. You can make a great living just renting other people's properties on Airbnb, and people have money and property, and some of them are too lazy to do all the little picky own things, and they don't need, living money or anything like that. So it's just extra money from them. So you could go in, hey, I'll do all the work, and you're going to get extra money. What a deal. See, that's why the new opportunities that are happening that people don't know about because they're not advertised. It's not normal. Everybody, if you're an older person, the worse you are at knowing about these things because you're getting life you think very well in life without knowing, and you think life is just fine that way. A little tough, but so that's why if you know about these new things, you don't have to worry about it as much. Okay, now here's another neat kind of thing that's money sitting in your house is peer-to-peer fashion. Who would have thought? But I'm looking at these sites and I can't find any question mark suits. But really what it is a way of money. You could go up to your closet and you know there's stuff you haven't used. I know, I got a lot of stuff I haven't used in a long time. My wife just giggled in the next room. And you could pack, they send you a box and you send it to these places. They're going to sell it for you and they give you the money. Yeah, actually, some of them even give you the money ahead of time. I mean, Tradesy, TRADESY.com is one. Thread Flip, THREADFLIP is another one. Like Twice, that's cute, huh? That's another one. So that's way, number one, to buy, high-end items or normal items for at good discounts, but more so have a way to get rid of the stuff that you don't need instead of going to a local thrift store. Because some of these will even pay you ahead of time. And you know where they sell mine, because they know they'll sell them. That's why when you have enough volume, a local thrift store, I mean, how much stuff can they handle? So that's why they're so picky. Here, they're doing with millions of people on the web, on the internet, all over the world. And they just pack it up and ship it or whatever. And they send you boxes to ship it and make it easy. So you got money sitting in your closet that you don't even know about it. And after I was reading these, I know for sure I do it. I should get some of these. So that's 3 of these. Now here's another thing that not only your couch, somebody could sleep in for a night, or extra room, or whatever you can. How about your garage you're not using? Your closet space you're not using. Your basement you're not using. There's a site called Roost, like I guess. Chicken Roost or something like that, Rooster, Roost, that you can make extra income. Somebody wants to store stuff. Hey, I'll make room for you. You're going to give me $20 a week or something to store something. It's nothing for me. And I do that 10 times. That's a nice little income, So that's, who would ever thought of these things? That's the problem. See, why where these question marks are? You don't know the questions to ask. How would you think of that? Well, I bet I could rent out my basement, not to somebody to live, just to store stuff. Look at all the storage stuff. Storage places that are out there. People are paying hundreds of dollars a month or whatever to store things. Well, if you have room in your house, see, the problem, we never thought about that before because we didn't know how to find the people who wanted to store it. So now you have a clearinghouse, Roost.com, that people are looking, hey, where can I find an inexpensive place instead of, giving it to this guy who had to buy the real estate, build the places to store stuff and charge you a lot of money to do it. You could do it for a fraction of the price, and it all goes into your pocket, right? But the problem is you can't find a customer. And that's what's so neat. These websites get you the customers, And it's wonderful. That's why you have to learn the new ways of living nowadays. I mean, if you're not savvy to this, you won't know. And you'll be the last one to know. And that's why the last one to buy a PC, or the last one to get on the internet. But now it's the last one. You don't be the last one to use these new tools of making money or being more efficient with your life. Well, here's another neat dog vacay. You like animals? You like pets? You can make money out of your home, okay? Because again, there's one of these websites looking for, not kennels, but people who care about animals. I mean, the kennel people say they do, but what? They're pushing, 50 dogs in a little room for the night, No, you're going to take care of them, because you don't have 50 dogs, you take 1 or 2, and that's it. And you'll care for them because you're a dog lover or whatever, and you're making money doing it. And the person who's giving you the dog knows, they see the house, it's a friendly house or whatever, or apartment, or whatever it is. It's not some kennel that looks like a jail, a dog jail, no matter how much they try to make it look nice, it's not. So that's a cool way to making extra money. And that's dog vacay or pet vacay. It goes by 2 names, and it's there. So who would ever think of that? But it is there, and that's why some people on those sites don't have kennels. They don't have anything. They're just putting people together, and that's the business. Nobody would have thought of that business 10 years ago, 5 years ago even. Okay, here's another neat thing that the government will help you out. You cook something. You think it's great, okay? there's an office at the Department of Agriculture will show you how to start a business in your kitchen, right? You can make $400 a week cooking your, banana bread or whatever the heck you like. They help you market it or what the sources are for that. They'll take you cradle to grave on making a business out of your kitchen. You worry about the regulations? They'll do that. You think you need money to do it? They help you do a business plan to do that. All this. You think you could sell it at farmers markets? They know where they are and help you do that. And that's part of the County Cooperative Extension Service. And if you Google County Cooperative Extension offices, you'll see a map, part of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, County Cooperative Extension offices. There'll be a map, you click on your state, and you'll find one near you. And that's making a kitchen. Anybody likes to work with food? A lot of people do. I see a lot of heavy people around. There's a lot of people like food in this country. Or if you want to make money in your backyard, growing fruit, growing fresh fruit, vegetables, or whatever. That's a booming industry, And you can do it in your backyard. You don't need a lot of room to do that. And actually, that same office, the County Cooperative Extension Service, has special people on their staff to help you do that. They want you to do that. That's why the government has. There's even grants for that. Like if you live in a part of the world where or America, whatever, where you only have a short growing season, 6 months, they have grants to get you like these things like tents you put over your vegetables, to get another month or two of growing season out of your crop or whatever. And that you don't need 10,000 acres, you can have just a big backyard and start this thing. People are doing it in their front yard because they don't want to cut their lawn anymore. You make money with it instead of paying somebody to cut your lawn. So that's neat. So in your kitchen or your backyard, and people make up like $10,000 extra a year. Just you get fresh fruit and vegetables, so you don't have to buy it at the grocery store anymore. And that's the County Cooperative Extension Service. If you haven't heard about crowdfunding, you have to. You have to know about this. I mean, it is one of the coolest things that's happening on the internet. It's a place where you could get money, particularly any kind of little business you want to start. It doesn't take any money at all. You go online, you need no money, you need no product, you need no experience, there's no credit check. Nothing. It's better than a grant because potential customers who think your idea is pretty neat, And so they say, hey, I think you got a neat idea here, and I'll give you, money. Say maybe you need 10 grand to make 100 of these or whatever it is, and to start your little business. Yeah, I'll buy one of those. Here's my $100 up front or $10 up front to help you start it. Now, if you get the whole 10 grand, then you go make it and you send them one. If you don't, everybody gets their money back. But it's a wonderful place to see if your idea is worth anything. So if you think you have a great idea or product or whatever and you can make money out of doing it, this is the place to test it. Because it's the metal meets the road. You don't have to ask your mother-in-law, hey, you think this is a good idea, or your friends. They're never going to buy it anyway. So real, true customers, because millions and millions of people are coming to these websites looking for new ideas and things that they think are cool, and your idea may be cool, and be invested. And about half or more of the people that put ideas on there, get them funded, get the money you need. Now that's incredible. That's more than people going on the getting a grant. That's a bigger success rate. So that's why this is wonderful, and it takes no credentials. Remember, no credit check. You don't even have to have the full product, maybe just a sample, what it's going to look like, kind of thing. And people are going to invest in your dream too. Now, what can be better than that? And it's not one person, not some fat cat. Sure, you could go out there and do it in the traditional sense, but you're going to talk to a big company, right? Who some fat cat with a cigar. No, I don't think it's going to sell, my boy. Take a walk. They don't know. They're just guessing. And then you come to them because they have money, not because they're smart. They just happen to have money. So the only smart people are the people who are going to really buy the thing. So you could find out that ahead of time. You put it on one of these sites and you say, hey, would you buy this thing if I make it? Enough people say yes. And then you go make it. What would be better than that? You cut out all those partners, all the middlemen, all the venture capitalists, all the banks, everybody. All those people who want your soul. And you're going and making money and doing what you want to do in life. Now what? And the greatest thing about this is the downside. There is none. You don't lose anything. You lose some time or whatever. But you gained it in knowledge about what to do next time. So it's sort of like playing a football game or whatever, and you lost the game. Well, you learn from that lose. Hey, I didn't think of this and do that or whatever. And it's a wonderful opportunity to learn. Better than go to school. Why pay some school, money to learn something when you could go someplace like this and get the education for free, and it's real life education. Because now you know exactly what to do, not some professor who's never done it themselves. You're doing it yourself, and you got real life experience, and that's the way to live. You know what I just learned a minute ago? Clashy is just one letter off from classy. Someone just mentioned to me that my jacket clashes with my sweater and the tablecloth. But the sweater and the tablecloth match, don't they? Anyway, okay, now here's another way to make money. We all have credit card debt. Now there's a good way to make money on your credit card debt. Your credit card debt, they charge out crazy interest rates. Now there's ways to get money cheaper than a bank or anybody else will give you, and particularly a credit card company, to pay off your credit card debt like that and make thousands of dollars doing it. Because if you pay off your normal credit card debt, like if you have a big credit card debt, it could cost you an extra $10,000, paying it their way. If you go to one of these peer-to-peer lending sites, remember we talked about peer-to-peer fashion, peer-to-peer automobiles, now there's peer-to-peer money. These are sites where people are not putting their money in the bank because the bank gives them only 1% interest on their money. They go to a peer-to-peer lending site that gives them 6-7% money because they're lending it to you at only 8 or 9%, compared to 20% that the credit card company's giving you money for. So doesn't it make sense, to get this money now and pay somebody at 7, 8, 9% versus 20% to the credit card company and get them off your bank back right away forever? See, what a way to make money. What a way to solve that problem. And the two big ones are Prosper and Lending Club. Prosper and Lending Club. And gosh, they just are public. One of them is now done publicly. Public health is the new banking system. Why give all that money to the middleman who has all these executives making all this money when these people, all they have is a website? And so the instead of paying for overhead of fat cats, all you're paying is the person who's lending the money, and the person loaning the money gets a better deal. And a better deal, particularly when you own some money somewhere else, to pay that big bill off, so you're saving money. And so, man, just think if you save, $10,000 next year on your credit card bill, that's like getting a raise for $10,000. And you're probably not going to get that at your current job. Now, here's another interesting website that I just shocked. I talked to the guy years ago, not years ago, maybe 8-9 months ago, called Patreon, Patreon. It's for artists. You have a skill, you have an art, you like making doilies, you like painting, you like crafts or anything like that. Sure, you could go on SD or whatever and sell your items. Oh, I should have that in the list, shouldn't I, SD? But here you could go where people like your art so much, they just give you money every month. They'll kick in $20, $100 a month or whatever, just to keep you going, because they realize the importance of art in our culture. And the federal government doesn't do it as much anymore, so they want you to keep going. So I talked to the fellow doing this a couple months back, and he was a delightful fellow, and I said, well, this is awfully nice. And I thought, well, it would be cute. I just wonder how big it gets. I checked it out yesterday. They do $1 million a month. $1 million a month the artists are getting from this one website every month. So that's $12 million a year. It's going to artists who they don't even send work to the people. It's just to support artists doing their work. Now, how great is that? Who would have thought, if you go with your hat in your hand to the National Endowment of the Arts and try to apply for a grant and all that, I mean, God, this is so much easier. And it looks like it's even bigger. It's incredible. And any kind of art, that's what's so incredible to me. $1 million a month. Check that out. Again, costs nothing to try it. You're an artist that cuts hair or something. Who cares what it is? Art is art. It's in the eyes of the beholder, right? You put your talent or whatever there, and you just say learn the system. It's learning a system. Just like if you had to learn to be a grant writer. Well, you don't have to learn to be a grant writer anymore. You have to know how to use the internet. And it's there for anybody. You don't have to be a high techie to do it anymore. At one time you did, but not anymore. Now, because they want to make it so easy. If millions and millions and millions of people are using it now, that means it's not just for the elite or the techies or whatever. So that's Patreon, Patreon.com. Okay, so that's, I think, an incredible thing that's going on the internet. Here's another thing. Reduce your student loan debt. Everybody's got student loan debt, right? And so if times are tough, you could get that reduced. And don't go on the internet looking for people to help you do that. No, there's federal programs, and definitely do not, and there's a lot of banks trying to tell you, and they're just ripping you off with money. It's going to cost you money to do the same thing that you could get for free. So don't. You go, and because what you can do now is reduce your payments down that it's only 10% of your income. So if you're in tight times and you had a big consumer debt, so now they'll get it down only 10% of your income. And if you don't pay it off, like in 20 years, they'll forgive it. And if you're really tough, they could stop your payments too. And there's 5 million people that are eligible for this. So you want to check it out. And remember, don't get involved with any company on the internet. You want to go to consumerfinance.gov, consumerfinance.gov, and then you search within there for repay student debt. So that's consumerfinance.gov, repay student debt. And you'll come and explain how to do it. You use those sources there. Do not, if you get screwed up, call 211, and that's an information hotline for government programs, and tell them you're looking for the program that helps you with the student debt. Do not go to a company or anybody in the financial industry to help you with student debt. Okay, now here's another. This is an incredible deal. You may have heard about it because the company is in the news now for other things besides what they're doing. And what they do is they show you how to make $100,000 with your car. That's right. If you have a car, it has to be a fairly new car, a couple of years old or whatever, that you can make up to $90,000 like a taxi. But it's not a taxi because, again, like AirBnB, where they vet people, they make sure the people who's going to get into your car are registered. You don't even take money because it's all done for the credit card. People in this town are making, and this is I live in Washington, D.C., $40,000 a year part-time while they have a full-time government job. Wow. And here's the other thing, too. If you don't have a newer enough car, they help you buy a car. Because they know you're going to get so much money from this to pay off your loan for your car. And they give you a deal on the loan. So they're looking for like 100,000 people right now to buy cars for them, to help them buy cars, to work for them. I mean, this is a growing business. Cab companies hate them. A lot of local, governments hate them because they're not paying taxes. They're buying medallions. Remember those medallions you had to buy, like in New York? They're worth like millions of dollars to be official taxi. Well, no, there's no official taxi because anybody can do it now. And all this company has, again, is a website. And you get an iPhone. They help you get a phone too if you don't have the right kind of phone. And you see something, you want to work? I don't want to work. Maybe I do. It's up to you when you want to work. You work for a taxi company. They want you got to put in your 12, 15 hours today or whatever. That's it. No, you do it when you want to do it. That's what's so neat. It's all about you having control of your life. And same way in your in your work. How many of us have really control of life at work? No, not when you're working with somebody. That doesn't. So imagine you can make up to $90,000 having control of your life. I mean, that's phenomenal. That's what I mean. There's about new ways of doing everything. And it's not only Uber.com. There's 2 other companies like this. One called Sidecar. And don't put Sidecar. It's funny how they have it. It's SIDE.CR, not CAR, so SIDE, then not .com, but .cr. And the other company is Lyft, LYFT.com. They're the people with the pink mustaches on the front of the car. They're a little weird, but no, they're a competitor, and they all do. I know people work for both sometimes, and that's easy to do too. So these are all the new kind of businesses that you're not going to see in classified ads. You're not going to see it in the normal stuff because there's no middleman making something. It's between you, and the person looking for a ride and the guy with the website. That's all he's doing. But again, like Uber, they're worth billions or whatever it is already, and all they have is a website. I know millions of employees. That's why, see, we're not going to create the same kind of old kind of jobs where you hire a factory, Like these companies are the value of them on Wall Street is as big as Boeing aircraft, that hires tens of thousands of employees, and these have next to nothing but the same value. This is where the value is coming in our economy. Right or wrong, I don't know, but this is where it's going, and that's why it's people have to know about it to take advantage of it. Now here's another thing, Just Park. JUSTPARK.com. People park in your parking lot, your garage, in front of your house or whatever. And you can make some of these people make up to $4,000 just people parking there, whatever, because you're not using it. So many of us don't use it, and you can get money by doing it. See, that's what I mean. The stuff around your house you didn't even know that was there, you can get money for. Whether it's your clothes, your your garage, or even the front of your house, nobody's using, you could do it. Well, here's another neat one like that, part of the peer-to-peer, is boats. How many boats do you see sitting going nowhere, right? If you have one, you know how expensive that is, right? Sitting there, how many times do you use it? Well, now there's something called boatbound.com, BOUND, where you put it there. People want a boat for a day. I don't want to buy a boat and, take care of it for the rest of my life. No, I want to use it a few times a year. So I'll go on this website, and I looked in DC. Man, there's hundreds and hundreds of boats. Everything you want, from a canoe to a luxury liner. I can rent by the hour for a party or whatever. So if you have a boat, just don't let it sit there and you complain about it. Make money out of it like that. Now, here's another way to make money out of it, too. What you can do is find people with boats, and you put them on the site for them and make a commission. You know where. If you're near water, just go down the docks and see whose boats, find the owner, say, hey, I'm going to put them on this website for you, and I'll take 20% of what we get. Again, people have money, they don't have time, and they're lazy, and they don't need the money to eat, so it's just extra money. So you're going to go to them and show them how to make some extra money, and they have to do nothing, because you're going to do it all. So you're the boss of this company that rents other people's boats for them, and it costs you nothing because you have no investment. You don't even need a website, because the website is already there for the boats. You're just getting the information from the guy, putting it in the website for him, and making sure it all works right? See, there's lots of new ways to make money. and it's all because of the internet. Now, here's the one last thing that is really interesting to me. It's called Go Halfsies. Maybe you're like me, just bought a nice pair of golf clubs and you barely use them. You could put them on this website, and somebody will go halfsies for you. Okay, you paid $500, here's $200, and I'll use them, whatever, half the time or 10 times a year. You have a vacation home. You paid so much. You go halfsies. Somebody else wants it, doesn't want to go through the trouble of going and looking for what, they go halfsies with you. They do it for skis. Just how many times do you use a pair of skis? Condos, luxury goods. You go on this website, you see watches, everything that people are going halfsies for. You're shocked. So it's another way to get money from you, from the stuff you have already, and not give it up. And not only rent it, but you go halfsies. So that's GOHALFSY.com. Go and halfsies. And I think I said in the beginning that's 33 items, and it's really only 32 because I like the number 33, and I thought it would be a nicer headline to say 33 new ways to make money on the internet. 32 didn't sound as exciting, so I lied. So that's my 33.